Many games claim to have pioneered the survival horror genre, but while others came before it, Project Firestart is one of the very best and is still supremely enjoyable today. Your task is to dock with a research vessel in space and find out why there's been no communication. Developed by Dynamix and published by Electronic Arts in 1989, Project Firestart is perhaps one of the most innovative games to feature in the Commodore 64's extensive library of games. Far more than just another action arcade game or movie license, this was among the very first games to focus on providing players with a truly cinematic experience, adopting techniques from the silver screen to deliver an original product that truly helped set the game apart from its contemporaries. From the start, when you see the body of a dead crew member who has written the word "danger" in their own blood, you know it's going to be an incredibly tense mission with plenty of twists and turns. The year is 2061, and Earth has lost contact with the Prometheus, a research station situated in orbit around Titan, the largest of the planet Saturn's moons. Concerned as to what fate might have befallen the crew, Agent Jon Hawking of the United States is sent aboard the platform in a bid to re-establish contact with the science crew and to determine the cause of the communications blackout. Having docked with the ship and made your way through the airlock, it doesn't take you long to realise that something is desperately wrong when you discover the numerous bloody corpses of the crew strewn about the ship's interior. Eventually, locating an unlocked security terminal, you can access the station's records and learn the purpose of the project. Taking control of Hawkins, it's up to you to deal with the mutant threat, rescue any survivors who might remain aboard the stricken research vessel, and find the means to relay a warning back to Earth to alert his superiors as to the nature of the events unfolding on the station. Failure to complete the mission within a time limit will remotely activate the station's self-destruct sequence, utterly destroying the station in a ball of nuclear fire. Epic, eh? Viewed from a horizontal perspective, the interior of the Prometheus station unfolds and you begin to carry out a sweep of the area. The vessel is a large and sprawling affair, spread over 4 separate decks that consist of various laboratories, living quarters and maintenance areas, all of which are interconnected by a series of access corridors. Much of the game will be spent wandering the halls in an effort to discern the Prometheus's layout, and it's strongly recommended that you make some kind of map to chart each room and location as they are discovered. There will be moments when an intimate knowledge of the ship's interior can literally mean the difference between life and death. Many of the rooms contain items and supplies that must be collected and used elsewhere to unlock the way forward, or feature information terminals that enable you to access the station's computer network. Once logged in, it's possible to read through various log entries and crew communications that reveal more about the events leading up to the disaster, what went wrong, and who might be responsible. Your arrival on board the station has not gone unnoticed, however, and it's inevitable that your activities will draw the attention of the monstrosities lurking somewhere within the confines of the station. These mutants are hulking, bipedal monstrosities that feature a pair of razor-sharp appendages which they'll use to rake and claw at you in a frenzied attempt to tear you limb from limb. The creatures hunt relentlessly once sighted, pursuing through multiple screens, with the only sure means of escape being to hitch a ride in an elevator to a different deck. Naturally, the lifts take several seconds before they arrive at the correct floor, resulting in some nail-biting moments as you sit there and pray that the lift finally shows up before the mutants pinpoint the room where you're currently hiding. For those moments when fleeing is no longer an option, you are armed with a laser rifle with which to defend yourself from the mutant threat. Even if you do decide to fight the monsters, remember that they have been bred with specific purpose of surviving hostile environments, meaning that your laser blasts are remarkably ineffectual against their tough exoskeleton. Only through sustained fire can you hope to bring one of the creatures down. although the fact that the laser has a limited fuel cell means that the weapon will run dry all too quickly if you engage in constant battles against the mutants. Although it is possible to acquire a replacement blaster later in the game, the limited supply of ammunition means that fleeing from the creatures can actually be the safest option, particularly when faced with multiple threats within the confines of a claustrophobic maintenance shaft. Despite the improved physical conditioning afforded by its combat training, it's inevitable that you will sustain various injuries during your encounters, eventually succumbing to your wounds if left untreated. Remaining health is indicated by the series of green arrows to the bottom left of the status panel, and it becomes imperative to seek out medical attention as soon as it begins to run low. Just as with anything else useful, medical supplies are difficult to come by and should be used only when absolutely necessary. Certain elevators will have a medical kit located next to the door, although these contain only enough supplies for a single treatment and are rendered inoperable once used. The Prometheus does contain a dedicated medical bay somewhere on board, which allows you to heal your wounds as often as required, but running backwards and forwards to patch up will only waste precious time in the long run, something you can ill afford given the current situation. Project Firestart is quite the remarkable title for a number of reasons, not least because it might possibly be one of the earliest examples of a game in the survival horror genre. With few weapons, limited ammunition, and a near limitless army of mutants thirsting for your blood, the sense of dread in this particular game is palpable, and there are only a few precious moments when you are ever truly safe. The claustrophobic environments and relentless pursuit by your mutant aggressors gives rise to a sense of dread and foreboding as you hurry through the seemingly endless corridors, often resulting in a state of panic and onset of sweaty palms whenever a hostile creature makes its presence known. Perhaps one of the game's biggest surprises comes during the final act, where the creatures manage to mutate their DNA yet again, using this subsequent strain to create a supreme being that is far, far stronger and more resilient than that of anything you have encountered up until this point. In a shock twist of fate, well, you know, I'm not going to spoil that bit. You definitely need to play it yourself. It's definitely worth it. What I hadn't anticipated was the fact that there are actually multiple ways to complete the game, so I definitely won't be showing any spoilers for this awesome game. It's this level of non-linearity and freedom to experiment that makes the game such a significant title in the C64 library. Perhaps even more importantly, however, is the sense of cinematic style that Dynamix managed to infuse within their creation. The core gameplay mechanics are actually quite simplistic and amount to little more than running around and shooting monsters, but the chilling atmosphere and sense of pace elevates the game to something that feels so much more expansive. The use of cutscenes whenever something significant occurs is quite the masterstroke, displaying key plot moments and events in a series of carefully crafted images and animations. Whether it's the grisly discovery of a crew member's blood-splattered corpse slumped in a hallway, or the intervention of some dark force attempting to thwart your investigation. These clips are not only vitally important in advancing the game's plot, but also for building tension and creating an atmosphere where you never quite feel safe or secure. The overall quality of these scenes are excellent, and the end result is a game that looks and feels so much more exciting than so many of its contemporaries. Another contributing factor to the game's success must surely be the exemplary artwork. Boasting an aesthetic closely resembling that of the Nostromo from Ridley Scott's Alien, the interior of the Prometheus is far more mundane and industrial in its design. None of this is to say that Project Firestart is the perfect game, however. The combat isn't particularly satisfying, and finding your way around the Prometheus's labyrinth network of corridors can become somewhat disorientating and laborious at times. But this is very much a product where success is rooted in the sum of its parts, rather than any one particular facet. Not only does the game put you at the heart of an engaging science fiction adventure, it possesses a level of polish that really does set it apart from its peers. This is a highly engaging, cinematic experience that every dedicated Commodore 64 fan ought to experience. Highly recommended. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button, and please let me know your experiences with Project Firestart in the comment section. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, then this is a great opportunity to ask if you'd kindly consider joining me on this epic journey, revisiting classic games just like this. With loads more games on the channel and more coming up next, it'd be great to have you on board whilst we revisit these awesome nostalgic titles. A massive thank you once again for the continued support, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, bye for now.